friends, this is Heidi with Kiddos Corral, and today, and it is about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I need to get this bread going because the directions say that the bread has to rise for 8 hours. Now, as you guys, if you guys have watched my past videos, you guys know that I tried to make a Dutch oven bread, and I wasn't too impressed with it, but I've done a lot of research, and I've done a lot of searching for different recipes, and I thought I would take you on my journey to see if maybe this one was a good one. Now, I will say that most people recommend the artisan unbleached bread flour. I went to 4 different stores. I went to Whole Food, Fresh Market, Target, Kroger. I even went to Walmart. That's 5 stores to look for that specific bread flour, and the one that I was able to find was this one. Let me see. Yeah, you guys can see. And this is the only one that they all carried. So I'm using this one. It is very recommended. It has good reviews, but it wasn't the one that I was initially looking for that everyone was using. So we're going to try this out, guys. So I have the recipe written down, and I'm just going to take you along on my journey to see if this works out. So it is 3 cups of flour. That's my bread flour. Sorry about the banging. So I'm going to measure that out. I'm going to put that in my bowl. That's 2. 3. And then we want to add in our yeast and our salt, and it's 1 teaspoon of yeast and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I'm going to go ahead and put the salt in. There we go. And then I'm going to put in the yeast, and I need to cut my little packet open with some scissors. And the directions say to use the active dry yeast, not the rapid rise, so make sure that you get the active dry, and check the date on your yeast to make sure that it's still good. I thought if I could do a no knead bread that is very tasty, this would be awesome in the fall time for me to make, because I love to bake. I love the smell of homemade bread, and we're coming into time for school and busier schedules, and so, you know, if you can make bread in your dough up in the morning and you don't need to knead it, and then when you come home from work or school or wherever you're at and you come back and your bread dough is ready to go, I thought, what a perfect recipe for me, because you know, I love to make bread. So now I need 1.5 cups of warm water, and I will tell you that most people say that your water needs to be the temperature of like a baby's bottle. So let me get my water and I'll be right back. I have my 1.5 cups of water, and it just says to pour it over the top of the flour. And I'm going to get a spatula to bring my dough together. Now your dough is supposed to be slightly sticky. It's not supposed to be an attractive dough ball like you would if you'd make, you know, from scratch homemade bread or pizza dough or anything like that. So I'm just following the directions, and it says at this point you can use your hands, so I'm going to get my hands in there and bring it together. You want to get all of that bread flour all combined in with your wet ingredients. You don't want to waste any of that. So I just want to bring it all together. It's not supposed to be really pretty, so that is that. And like I said, I'm following the directions, so hopefully this comes out, because I have been really wanting to, I've seen it work out great for other YouTubers, and if mine can come out that good, I would be thrilled to death. So I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'm going to get some plastic wrap. Plastic wrap. And it says to cover with a tight seal, so I'll probably put a couple layers of plastic wrap on here. And Heidi, you're doing a bang up job. I really detest plastic wrap, by the way. I hate it, but we use it all the time, right? And it sticks to everything, and it's impossible to rip. Okay, so I want to make sure that this is tightly sealed all the way around, and then I'm going to cover it with a towel. And by the way, I have been buying tea towels from IKEA. They're only like 80 some cents a piece. They have this little red stripe on them. If you guys don't know, my kitchen's red, white, and blue, so it works out really well. And tea towels are fairly expensive in a regular store, so finding them for like 80 some cents or less than $1 a piece is a bargain. And they wash up really, really well. And I only use these for baking. I don't use these to dry dishes or clean counters or anything like that. I just use them and they stay nice and clean, and I use them for baking. So I am going to put this in my oven with my oven light on. Now that wasn't part of the directions, but the people that, or the ones that I've watched, they don't have central air systems, and my house is ice cold, so I'm afraid, I don't know how my dough will do because it's not quite as warm in my house as perhaps theirs. So I'm just going to put it in the oven with the oven light on, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to come back around 6 o'clock. It'll be about 8 hours, and we will see how this does. If this does well, I'll be making this tomorrow morning, because I love to bake and I love bread, and I love that we're coming into school starting in fall time, so I'm going to really enjoy making this bread if it comes out. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. Okay, we are back. It is dinner time, and I am ready to try this bread dough. So let's look. I haven't even peeked at it yet to see what it looks like, but this is 8 hours later. I'm gonna see if you guys can see. You guys see? And then it's supposed to have lots of bubbles. Shh! Hey! My dogs are getting excited because people are walking down the street. But you can see there are a lot of bubbles in there, in the dough. And it smells really good. I love the smell of yeast. When you bake bread, it just smells so good. Okay, so I have my Dutch oven here, and I have it lined with parchment paper, and the directions say basically just to use your hands, and the dough is going to be sticky. Snowball, stop. They haven't barked all day until I turned the camera on. Okay, so we want to put this dough right in the middle of my Dutch oven. And I'm going to try to get the rest of this dough out. Really need to get a dough scraper. It really does help a lot whenever you do bread. It helps you get things out. Then you don't even really have to even touch it with your hands at all. Okay. Very sticky. It's sticking to my parchment. Here we go. Okay. It's got to be like in a round loaf. I'm situating it here a little bit. There we go. Alright, so my oven is preheated at 450, and we're going to bake this bread for 30 minutes, and then with the lid on. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on top, and we're going to bake this at 450 for 30 minutes, and then after that we're going to remove the lid and let it bake another 15 minutes without the lid, and that is supposed to make the crust of the bread very brown and crispy. So we will see if this works. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. So this is the first time I'm doing this with y'all. This is a trial run. Okay, I just took this out of the oven. You guys can see what it looks like. I am going to allow it to rest for a few minutes, and then I'm going to take it out and place it on my cutting board here. You always want to cut bread with a, I guess it's called a serrane knife or a bread knife. So I have that out, and I'll be back in a few minutes to show you what it looks like. Okay, there it is. I took it out of the pan. It was a little bit tricky to remove because I am not really waiting for it to cool. I'm going to cut it even though it is hot. You're not supposed to do this. I've got some impatient people that want their dinner, and so cut into this. And I'm trying to be gentle because I don't want to smash the bread, and you can see the steam coming out. I really need to hold it this way and cut it. There we go. There we are. Ooh, that looks really, really good. Really, really good. Can you guys see this? What it looks like? Yum. I can't wait to put some butter on that and eat it with my pasta that I'm serving tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed seeing me watching me and seeing me make my Dutch oven bread. This is the first time I made this recipe. I will say I think it's a win-win. It's easy. It takes 8 hours to rise, but if you are not going to be home for a certain amount of time during the day because you're at work, 8 hours is nothing to let it rise. You come home and you bake it up, and your house smells like fresh baked bread. My house smells so good right now, so good. But I am going to put butter on this end piece right here, and I am going to have that with my supper. I hope y'all are doing great. Give this video a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, and I will be talking to you all again soon. Bye bye.